So in our paper 15, direct tax laws and international taxation. So first of all, we'll look at the subject overview. So how the paper pattern is, which areas are to be focused, what sources we are going to provide from BCCA, when we are going to complete this batch. So let us talk first basic all those things, then we'll go into the subject. Okay. Sir, as you all know, maybe at inter-level or final level, students usually feel like DT has a tough paper. But first we'll understand actually compared to the inter-level, final level should be easy. Okay, here also it is easy only. But what makes it complicated or what is needed from you, how should be your approach. So all those things we'll talk little detailedly. Then we'll go into the basics here. Okay. So first of all, this batch which you are starting, so all the face-to-face students as well as the online students also, the topics or the amendments which we are discussing are applicable only for December 2025 exams. Okay. Every year, sir, in income tax, how the amendments will come means based on the Finance Act. Before the commencement of a financial year, usually on Feb 1st, central government will introduce a budget. Through that budget, whatever the changes they want to bring, that could be incorporated or they will be introduced. But this time, there is elections also there. So I mean, last time 2024, there is elections. Whenever there's elections, that time, there'll be two budgets. Okay, one is like, sir, usually for us, like the central government related, the parliament elections will go in like April, May, June, that time. So in February, they'll introduce one budget. Okay, but the government which has came into power will introduce again one more budget. The first one is an interim budget. For the meanwhile, for the time being, they'll introduce one budget. Once the new government has formed, then again they'll come up with a second budget, a second Finance Act. Okay, so for us currently, Finance Act 2 is applicable. Okay, which was came in like 23rd July 2024. So 23rd July 2024, Finance Act 2 has been introduced. And one more thing, whenever every 5 years we'll have elections, usually, unless, I mean, the government has collapsed, otherwise there will be elections for 5 years. Whenever there is a change in government, the upcoming government introduces a budget, right? That time they'll make more amendments because the new government has recently or just now came the power. So they have that flexibility to do something new there that time. So that's why whenever they bring Finance Act 2, it will be there in 2019, maybe there it was there in 2014. So there'll be two Finance Acts that time. So in Finance Act 2, usually they bring more amendments. That's why comparatively, considering the past attempts and all, for the recent June 2025 attempt and for this December 2025 attempt, we'll be having some more amendments. Okay. So considering your inter-level DT preparation, compared to now, you'll see certain structural basic amendments also because there is this Finance Act 2 came in between. Okay. Are you able to understand, right, sir? Whenever, I mean, if you're thinking about like, if at all, what I need to take, if at all, I'll write my attempt in June 2026 and all. If at all, you students are having any doubt, na? So understand, this many amendments may not be there for June 2026. Okay? Compared to the December 2024 and June 2025, there are more amendments. But December 2025 and June 2026, there will not be that many amendments, which will be few only. And one more thing, whenever you think of amendments, see, fundamentally, it will not change every time. The rate might get changed. Or in a particular place, the method of computation might get changed. The whole DT will not change, right? Whatever you learnt in inter-level only, that basics, that fundamentals will be here also. Okay, whatever the changes will come, or only to a little extent, so you need not to bother much about that. Okay? If you are conceptually strong, if you learn here conceptually strong also, if at all there's a need of learning amendments also, you could easily understand them. It's not a big problem. See, for us like amendments made in Finance Act 2024-25 will be discussed. Sir, if you're a student specifically looking for June 2026 exams only, then this might not be the suitable batch for you, because the workbooks, the questions which we solve, everything will be in line with the December 2025 exams only. Okay. Now coming to our paper, sir, DT, it has two parts, section A and section B. Okay. Let me address you one more thing, sir. Every one of you watched Pushpa movie? Pushpa 2. Okay. See, you and your friend went to Pushpa movie, Pushpa 2. Okay. Assuming there is no stampede that day, you went safely and watched the movie. You have watched Pushpa 1, whereas your friend didn't watch Pushpa 1. He straight away came to Pushpa 2. See, in between, in the half of the movie, like where Rashmika is going to temple. Okay, Srivalli went to temple. There, one person randomly, tall guy, came to there and will be looking differently at Rashmika. Okay, so assume me as that friend asking you like, who is that guy? Why he is looking at Rashmika like that? Then you will be saying like what? He is brother of Pushpa. Okay, that and all already explained in the Pushpa 1, you will say. Okay, first time done. Then afterwards, like Mangalam Sinu will come. Okay, he'll be again having some conflict with Pushpa, Allu Arjun. Again, I'm asking like, what happened? Why there is a conflict between this guy and Pushpa? I'm again asking. Again, you same question. Okay, you might have watched first part and have came to here. Okay, don't ask me all these questions again and again and again. So, for the sake, again, you will be explaining me what, okay, this has happened in the part 1. So, that's why they are having a conflict. Again, third instance. Now, this time, okay, I have watched till interval. Then again, I'm asking, what is the main conflict between this Fahad Fazil and Pushpa? Okay, hey, that's the main cinema. That if you didn't watch part 1, how do you understand part 2? So first go and watch part 1, then only come to me, or otherwise shut your mouth and watch the movie. That's what you'll say, right? The same problem is here also. Okay, here final DT starts as it is like Pushpa 2. Okay, in interlevel DT ends there, it's the continuation part here. Okay, it's the continuation part. So the characters in first part, you need, you like, you don't like, whatever it is like, they'll be keep on coming. Okay, and we don't know when they will come also. Okay, you cannot again, every time you cannot have a question mark face. Just like as how you could able to connect the movie, this came in the first part, this came in the second part, especially with the fans of this like Avengers series fans. Okay, so they, when we ask like Iron Man, that happened in third part, that happened in second part and all, they'll be connecting. Okay, so like that, so here the first interlevel chapters will be keep on overlapping here. Okay, that made DT part as tricky. Okay, if at all there is a separate differentiation between first chapter and second chapter and there is no interconnection, if it is, then the final level DT would have been very easy. Okay, but the problem is like those interconnections will only make it as tough. And one more thing, the questions also, sir, the framing of questions, the problem is like, let's say many of you have listened to my IDT classes also. If at all we have learnt value of supply, most probably on that particular chapter, the question is only relevant to those particular topics only. They will not link time of supply, they will not link ITC, only to that specific chapter the question will be. Here the problem is, if at all they ask a question in PGBP, they can straight away ask on PGBP, na? They will not ask like that. They link deductions. Okay, they link TDS. Okay, so like that, I mean, if it is a total income problem, na, then again he'll mix the whole syllabus and all he'll mix. So that makes it complicated. Okay, if you look at like individual chapter wise, it seems to be easy only. But when they ask a question, they link other chapters also. What is our approach like? We'll be reading this chapter and expecting a question only on this, but they link other 2 or 3 chapters also. So that's the main thing. Especially when you're beginning your classes now, you should have clarity over all the chapters which you have discussed now. But coming to the exams, when the exams are nearby, then you need not to revise the whole subject. The problem or the approach of the problem with the student is like, I'll teach here 30 chapters here. Day before exam, you cannot read 30 chapters. That also I'll be again explaining, like these 12 chapters are of very important. So these 12 chapters you should be focusing on your day before exam or 3 days or 5 days before exam. See, if I say this now, and from the beginning onwards, if you start and revise only those 12 and 13 chapters, then you will not understand the connections. So first time when you are learning, you should have knowledge about all those chapters. But once you go into a serious preparation or day before exam and all, the basic part anyhow, you'll understand, right? So that's why those 13, 14 chapters only will be revising number of times to make the subject easy. Okay? If you miss this, like, if you start first itself only with the important chapters, like only those 13, 14 chapters, you will never understand those interlinkages and all. You need to by heart at some point of time. If a new point comes, that's the problem. If at all you want to revise the whole 30 chapters day before exam, you cannot cover that. That is also again a problem. So we should be learning here smart. In classroom, for the first time, we'll be learning the whole syllabus. But thereon, we'll be prioritizing the day before exam what we need to read, or 1 month before exam what we need to read. That prioritization is important. Okay. See, sir, we have 2 sections here. Section B, Section A. Section B is about, sir, international taxation. Okay. Section B is about international taxation. Whereas Section A is about normal income tax law. Income tax law. If you look at the institute material, sir, the institute study material, there they will clearly say like 60% weightage is to the Section A and 40% weightage is only to the Section B. Then so this is a detailed analysis I did before this particular June 2025 attempt, and the same way the paper has been came even in the June 2025 also. So this helps us in understanding question number 2. I mean under the slot question number 2, which chapters can be asked usually. Question number 3A, which are the chapters that could be asked. Question number 3B, 4A, 4B, like this for every question I have detailed analysis I have made, and I had a clarity for us like which chapters can be there under which particular chapter. Okay. Now, if you come to the international taxation, 40% weightage means our paper is for how many marks, sir? 128 marks, right? 128 marks into 40% do. How many marks you should have come? 128 into 40%. 50 marks. But in exam, we are having only 45 marks, sir. We are having only 45 marks from international taxation. That also how 5 7 marks questions are coming from international taxation. 5 7 marks questions. So 5 into 7, 35 marks. And out of 15 MCQs, 5 MCQs will be there from international taxation. So total 35 plus 10. How much it is? 45 marks. So out of 128 marks, 45 marks are only from international taxation. That is effectively how much is the percentage, sir? 35.15. So round off also if you do, 35% is the actual weightage of international taxation. The balance is from income tax law. But this 45 marks is very key, sir. Okay. This 45 marks is key. So usually what happens means this 45 marks, if we study at last, so usually for us like it's not learning curve. Usually for us learning curve should come into picture, but for us law of diminishing marginal utility will come into picture. First 10-20 classes, whether you watch recorded classes, live classes, face-to-face, whatever it is. First 20-30 classes you will have that enthusiasm. Without any leave you will be coming to classes. But then it slowly decreases. Towards the end of, the last 5 classes, 10 classes, the number of students will be drastically coming down. So usually will not listen to the last chapters properly. Okay, that's why you didn't learn PGBP also in interlevel properly. Because any faculty will teach PGBP towards the end only, deductions towards the end only, TDS, TCS towards the end only. From interlevel, those 3 are only the main important chapters which were very much linked to final level. Okay, PGBP, deductions, TDS and TCS. Here also same problem. Okay, international taxation is very important. If I teach at last, you will be again missing them and ending up with reading the whole income tax law again and again, you will not be able to score. So that's why what you will do means, for the first 7 or 8 classes till the point, I mean, so I'm planning to provide you the hard copy of materials by July 3rd or 4th. Okay, so till that point of time, every day we'll be having a single slot only. But then we'll be having every day 2 slots, sir. The moment we start a double slot, then one session will be discussing about international taxation and the other slot will be continuing with the income tax law. Okay, so then towards the beginning only we'll be covering international taxes also, so that you'll be quite confident regarding the subject, sir. Okay, so this 45 marks is key. Okay, so many of you are having a question, sir, that inter-level syllabus and all we cannot learn now. Tell some kind of resort, so where we could clear final level without learning all those things. Then the focus is only on international taxation. This is, yes, there also some basics are needed, but still completely at final level only this thing is going to come. Now coming to the other income tax, sir, the weightage is how much? 60%, but the marks are like 83 marks are coming from income tax law. The weightage remains to be somewhere 65%. Then question paper pattern. We have 15 MCQs, sir. You already know, right? 15 MCQs. Is there any choice in MCQs, sir? Okay, we have only choice to select answer. No choice to select a question. So there are 15 MCQs. Each MCQ is for 2 marks. Each MCQ is for 2 marks. So total we are having 30 marks. So majorly, 1 or 2 cases it may differ, but majorly 90% of the times how the paper is going to be there means 1 to 10 MCQs are being asked directly from the income tax. So okay, I shouldn't write direct tax. I should write here income tax. Whereas 11 to 15 are being from international tax. Sometimes maybe they may shuffle also, but we could come to a conclusion like 5 MCQs are from international taxation, 10 MCQs are from direct taxation. Coming to descriptive. Question number 2 to question number 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Question number 2 alone is a straight 14 marks question, sir. Other than question number 2, either it is question number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All these questions will have sub questions. 2A, 2B, 3A, 3B, 4A, 4B, like that. Okay. So from question number 2 to 8, there are totally 7 questions are there. Out of 7, we should write any 5 questions. Okay. So only 2 is a 14 mark lengthy question. Others are like sub questions will be there. Each A or B will be having 7 marks, 7 marks. Then so the benefit you students having currently is like good morning all. Okay, the benefit currently we are having is like online students. Okay, the benefit currently we are having is like, sir, actually institute weightage or where, I mean, from which chapter they are asking question number 2, from which chapter they are asking question number 3. All these are actually linking up with CMA final study material. Okay, but previously when I used to teach IDT also, till like 3 or 4, 2 batches before also, what we used to do, which is wrong actually, but what we used to do is like, we used to align this with CA final as well. Okay, even though we prepared exclusive CMA final materials, the problem is like somewhere with the index or with the chapter proportion, categorizations, all these things we used to align with CA final. But the thing we need to do, or now what we have started doing is like we are aligning only with the CMA study material. The benefit of is like, see, this 2A, 2B, this analysis I have shown you, right? So like under which particular question, which chapter they are asking. This categorization, so they will be giving like 2 or 3 chapters, the categorizations. Like let's say under 7A, there could be from 3 chapters the probability. Out of these 3 chapters, 1 chapter they might ask a question. So how they are structuring that is based on the institute study material. So maybe for BCCA material, we might divide the whole chapters into some 30 chapters. But institute material might not have 30 chapters. Okay, so you might be getting confused like which chapters has to be grouped. For that, you need to understand the institute study material, how the chapters has been given. So look at this, sir. Our institute study material, the module 1, if you look at there, first itself it starts with assessment of individuals including non-resident. But non-resident will teach towards the like almost end of the classes only will be teaching the non-resident. But our institute material, if you open, they'll be first they'll be starting with assessment of individuals including non-resident. No tax rates, no basics, nothing they'll discuss. Straight away they'll start with assessment of individual, assuming you have watched already Pushpa 1. Okay, so you know everything at the inter level, and it's okay, they are assuming like you are prepared and ready. Okay, that's the main problem. But to understand this chapter, you should definitely know the tax rates and deductions. The basic first chapter tax rates and all will be there, that we need to discuss, and then deductions. Then the second one, sir, company, assessment of company. There are something like MAT provisions will come. MAT means for companies, sir, what we have learned in inter-level means the tax rate would be 30% or 25%. Foreign company, different tax rate. So like that we might have learned. But here, there is an alternative taxation model for companies also. Okay? If they have high profits, then they follow one approach. Where if they are having very low profits, then they follow another approach like MAT. So two approaches we need to compare. Simple one only. But they straight away give like these MAT provisions and calculate tax for company. So company, usually what a company will do? For what purpose companies will be created? Profit. When you earn profit, on doing what you will earn profit? Business. Okay? So the main thing is about what? Business. But there is no PGBP head in our institute material. Okay, they didn't even discuss about, there is no chapter like PGBP in our institute material. But to do that particular question, you need to know PGBP provision. So we need to learn PGBP. Okay? And now at final level, sir, you should have this clarity. Even if you clear semi-final, you'll go to job, or else you go to practice. Okay? If you go to practice, who will be your clients? Okay, majorly business people only, right? Salaried people, even though they are your clients also, they'll not pay you much. They'll be asking you only one question: how much refund I'll get? Okay, will I get 1 lakh refund? Will I get 50,000 refund? That's the only question they'll ask. So majorly you will be dealing with whom? Business people. So I mean, which head is important? PGBP. Again, let's say you're employed. For whom you are working? A company, something. What it will be doing? Business only. So again, what is needed? PGBP only needed. So PGBP is like, it's needed for us for living also. Okay, we are at that particular point of time. PGBP is not needed only to clear exams. It's needed for living as well. So that's why to understand the assessment of companies, we should need PGBP. Then trust, assessment of trust, and next mutual associations. I mean AOP and BOI. How a trust will be formed. For trust to get income exemptions related to incomes and all, what conditions they need to fulfill, what procedures they need to follow, all this will be discussing there. So okay, 3 and 4 doesn't require much prior knowledge, but whereas first chapter, to understand that one, we should know tax rates and deductions. For second chapter, we should know PGBP. Then module 2. Module 2, sir, it's about return of income. You have computed tax. Okay, sir, understand, inter-level, the basic expectation of examiner is like, if some person who is carrying out business doesn't have a tax knowledge, came to you, you should be in a position to calculate his tax liability and tell him. Okay, inter-level, the institute expectation is like, when a person comes to you and tells his income details, you should be in a position to tell his income tax. Okay, you need to pay this much amount and all. But now at final level, not only about income tax computation, you need to compute tax and you should make all the submissions which you need to make to the income tax department. If at all there arises any problem, now, let's say the department again recomputes his particular income. There might be certain differences between what you have reported and what the income tax people compute. There are differences. How the differences has to be answered, addressed. Okay, if you accept a difference, how to pay. If you didn't accept differences, what you should do. Understand, sir? Sir, if they're between two parties, you are the income, you are the person who are paying taxes. I am the department. I am saying like whatever you did is wrong, you need to pay additionally 3 lakhs as tax. If you accept now, then there is no problem. You'll pay tax. But you are not accepting. You are arguing with me, like saying whatever you did is only correct. Then where we could go, how this issue can be settled. So there are like appeals process, like there will be appellate authorities, tribunals. So there is a process of appeals. Okay, you'll go to my superior and complain about me. It's not merely like complain, but you'll escalate issue. Like this is happening. You just look into the matter and sort it out. So those things we'll be discussing, like return of income assessment procedure. Then if you don't file return on time, okay, if you don't file return on time, if you don't pay tax on time, what happens? Interest will come. That we'll be discussing here. Then you're not cooperating with the assessment. Something like you are reported your tax as like 10 lakhs. Department has some information based on your bank transactions, based on your GST transactions. They have a doubt like you are reported or misreported certain income. Then obviously they want to come and check your premises. If you have any undisclosed incomes, if you have any, how much stock you are having or how much stock you have been reporting. So further they'll be coming to your premises, search, and if they found anything suspicious, they'll even seize, such seizure procedure. And then finally, the disputed amount or the assessed amount, how they will collect. You are not even cooperating even that also. Okay. So income tax officer said like you need to pay additional 5 lakhs as tax. You are not cooperating. You are not paying that additional 5 lakhs. Then how do they recover? Recovery proceedings are there. They can seize your properties. They can auction your properties. All those recourses we'll be discussing in the recovery of taxes chapter. Then module 3. Sir, for these chapters, interest advance tax. See, the question may be straight away regarding compute the advance tax. Sir, but on what tax will be computed? Incomes only, right? For that you should know the basics again. If it is rental income, taxable under which head? House property head. Salary income, salary side. Interest, other sources. Business income, business. If there is a sale of house property, capital gains. So that and all you should have already known to compute the advance tax. The question at final level, they may ask you to compute advance tax. But again, they will not teach you at final level actually how to compute rental income, how to compute capital gain income. So first this again, you should have knowledge about tax rates and deductions. And then collection and recovery of taxes. Why TDS here? TDS means what, sir? Tax deducted at source. I mean, it's a way of collecting taxes. So through TDS also they are collecting tax. So TDS is a method of collection of, or it's a process of collection of taxes. That's why you should have even understanding of TDS. Then module 3, I already said about appeals. Then settlement commission. Okay, so dispute even with the appeal process with different things also. Sir, you are going to the higher authority. Okay, let's say, first of all, you went for appeal with the appellate authority. Then again, you went with the tribunal. Still the issue didn't got solved. You went to High Court. Again, the issue didn't solve. You went to Supreme Court. Again, the issue didn't. I mean, they are giving verdicts, but one of the party is not convincing with the verdict. So the issue is not getting settled. So there is something called settlement commission here. What's the point here is, instead of going to this appeal process, you'll go there. So they'll not try to find out who is right, who is wrong. Okay. So they'll try to compromise the issue by making like you pay this much amount, this much penalty, will close the case. So like that, there is something called settlement commission. Then the 14th one is like advance ruling. You are going to start business now. You want to know how it has to be taxed. Okay. After doing the business, the benefit of advance ruling is like you will be having a prior understanding of what is the law, what the lawmaker or what the department is going to do. Based on that, if it is viable, you will do business. If it's not viable, you can drop the business at the initial stage itself. Okay. Sir, you want to merge with a company, sir. You want to merge with a company. You are in a assumption like there will not be any capital gains if you merge with that companies. So based on that, you merged into that particular company. But post-merger, income tax department came and saying like, there will be capital gains on this merger. So you'll be ending up paying 20% as taxes. Whatever the synergy benefit you should come because of that merger, you're losing because of that particular tax implications. So that's why, first of all, first itself you'll apply to the advanced ruling. I'm going to do this. What would be my tax implications? So now you'll understand what the tax structure is going to be there. If you like it, you'll follow. I mean, if it is viable to it, then you'll follow. Otherwise, you'll drop there itself. So that's the benefit of advanced ruling. So we'll be discussing the whole chapter, when to apply for advanced ruling, what conditions, when to do, all those. Then penalties and prosecutions. If you did any violations of tax law, what are the penalties applicable? What is the prosecution? Then module 5. This is wholly about the chapter business restructuring, sir. Business restructuring, na, when there is a amalgamation, capital gain implications or tax implication, not just the capital gain. If there is an amalgamation, tax implications. If there is a demerger, what is called demerger? If one company is splitting into 2 or more companies, then that is called as demerger. So what are the tax implications on demerger? Or you learn partnership, right? Okay, when there is a retirement of partner, what to do? When there a partnership firm is converting into company, what to do? Okay, so all those type of restructurings in businesses, what are the tax implications? Those, that particular point chapter will be learning. But again, for this chapter, you should have prior knowledge of what? Capital gains and PGBP, at least depreciation part. So this prior knowledge is again needed to understand this chapter. Then module 6, different aspects of tax planning. He'll give you 2 alternatives, sir. Let's say you want to start a factory or you want to start a particular business. You have 2 options. One is like leasing the plant and machinery. Second option is like buying the plant and machinery. So he'll give you 2 options and he'll ask you to decide which alternative is better considering the taxation aspect that you need to decide. Or else, another thing, like you are joining in a company, the company provides you 2 facilities. 2 particular kind of offers. One offer is like they'll give you HRA. The other option is like they'll give you rent-free accommodation. Okay, such kind of things. The one option they'll provide you travel allowance. You come in whatever the transport facility you want, they'll pay monthly 5,000, 6,000 like that. The other option is like they will only provide cab. Like that they'll give alternatives. You should decide which is better. Okay, that's about different aspects of tax planning. Again, for this chapter, you should have the complete understanding of the tax, but not interlevel, sir. Again, this module 6 requires interlevel chapters proper understanding. Then module 7, CBDT and other authorities. How CBDT is constituted. Who are the different authorities? Who will be commissioner, assistant commissioner, deputy commissioner, those authorities that would be there in the 18. Then, so these days, we are seeing so many e-commerce transactions. How Facebook is earning income? Meta, especially Meta. Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. For installing Facebook, do we pay anything? Are we paying anything to upload a post or upload to a reel in Instagram? Nothing. WhatsApp, do we pay anything? But then how that company values that many crores? What is their income source? Okay, they promote your reels, they promote your posters. Through that they will be earning incomes, and also they are creating a place where they could again generate income. They are giving a platform where you could boost your business, promote your businesses, all those. So how do we tax e-commerce transactions? Especially if you are a YouTuber, how your income will be taxed. So all those we'll be learning in this particular chapter called e-commerce and liability in special cases, which is nothing but even equalization. Then ICDS. ICDS means Income Computation and Disclosure Standards. Income Computation and Disclosure Standards. Just like as in accounts we have standards, even in income tax also, especially to compute income under that PGBP and IFOS, certain standards has been given. There are only 10 standards are here, ICDS. most similar to that of accounting standards only. Here and there, 1 or 2% they will be changing. So those 10 standards will be there in that particular chapter. Then there's an act called Black Money Act 2015. Black Money Act. See, black money means what, sir? Income on which you don't pay tax is called as black money. If you suppress income and on that if you don't pay tax, that is called black money. Black money is different, illegal money is different. Illegal money is also black money. Understand, sir? But all the black money need not to be illegal. I mean, it may be from a legitimate source only. But still, if they don't pay tax, if they didn't report to the tax authorities, then it is what? Black money. So we'll be understanding about this Black Money Act. Not detailedly, sir. The fundamentals of this act, the highlights of this act, that we'll be discussing. And there's a separate chapter given talking about case studies. Different chapters related. Recent pronouncements, judgments, which were important, those will be there in the case studies. So this is our whole income tax. I mean, for that 85 marks, these are the chapters applicable. Okay. So see from where it is starting, sir. They are not much focused on how to compute tax. The focus is much on how do you file return. How do you address when there are difference between your computation and income tax authorities computation. How the disputes will be resolved and all. Okay. The basic focus is on that only, and even on special cases which we don't much focus on inter level. Then the next part is, sir, international taxation, sir. There are only 3 chapters. One is DTAA, Double Taxation Avoidance Agreement. So basic things, sir, which are learnt in inter-level only. If you are a resident, of India, what incomes are taxable? See, you are a resident of India, you have income in India as well as USA. Both the incomes are taxable, only Indian income is taxable. If you are a resident, global income is taxable. The same income even taxed in US also, right? For that person, if the source is USA, USA will tax him based on source rule. India is taxing based on resident rule. Now the same income is getting taxed twice. There is double taxation. Okay, not only under indirect taxes, even under direct taxes also, double taxation is not good to the economy. So they should avoid double taxation. How do they avoid this kind of double taxations? For that, there is DTAA, Double Taxation Avoidance Agreements. With some countries, we'll have DTAAs, agreements. Whereas with some countries, we might not have agreements. Then what to do? All those things we'll be learning in this particular chapter, DTAA. Again, for this also, we should have understanding of basic tax rates and deductions. Then there is a chapter called transfer pricing. There's a chapter called transfer pricing. Sir, simple logic, sir. You have started a company, multinational company. You have branches in India, USA, and even in Mauritius. There's a country called Mauritius. India, USA, Mauritius. Assume the tax rate in India is 30%. USA is 20%. Mauritius only 5%. Now, you are multinational company. You have branches in all these 3 branches. Now, as a company as a whole, where you want to have more profits? In India, na, USA, na, Mauritius? Why? There the tax rate is 5% only. Let's say, understand, from India you will supply raw materials to the Mauritius company. From India you will supply raw materials to the Mauritius company. To get more profits in Mauritius, what you will do? Indian raw material selling price will decrease. So that, actually you will sell Indian raw material for 100 rupees. But to the Mauritius company, your subsidiary company or holding company only, you will sell it for only 70 rupees. So what happens? Indian selling price will decrease. So Indian profits will come down. But whereas Mauritius company will getting it for a lower cost. 70 rupees only it is getting. So the profit of Mauritius will increase. Indian profit will decrease. Okay. If you do such kind of transactions, as a company you are benefiting. But Indian government is losing tax revenue. To curb those practices, there is something called transfer pricing. And the last one is like general anti-avoidance agreements. I mean, to avoid this tax Okay, so in the name of double taxation, sir, you cannot even escape from taxing at all. You shouldn't even be escaping like, I'll pay tax in India, and you cannot even, at least at one place you should be paying taxes. You cannot escape from all those places. Further, there are general anti-avoidance relief. Okay, so there are even GAR provisions. So these are the whole chapters, sir. From institute material, if you take how many chapters we are having? 25 chapters, but they are divided into 14 modules. But additionally, we should learn these chapters also, even though they are not there in institute study material. First one is like about what? Basics and tax rates. Next one is about deductions, PGBP, capital gains, IFOS, TDS. Sir, these three at least, like partly you learn also fine, but 26, 27, 28 we should learn thoroughly. Okay. Now we'll see from which chapter, under which question, which chapter is being asked. Question number 2, sir, there's a 14 marks question. Assessment of company. Maximum this question is from PGBP only. I mean, if you learn PGBP only, you would answer question number 2. Okay, so that's why PGBP is very much important. Okay, but the only difference is like they'll ask it from company perspective. One more difference, sir, at inter level, always the question framing will be from individual point of view only. But at final level, some questions will be from company perspective, some may be from individual perspective, some may be from firm perspective also. Why like this? Now, simple thing, sir. On clearing final, you are a professional. Any SSC will come to you. He may be an individual, he may be a company. You cannot simply say like, I know only for individuals, I don't know for companies. So that's why assessment of company, the major chapter you need to learn here is what? PGBP. Then question number 3A and 3B, sir. So 3A and 3B is the only place where there is lot of shuffling is being happened. 3A and 3B. But those questions are easy. But shuffling is being happened a lot of much, sir. I mean, to understand 3A and 3B, the basics you should be strong. If at all your basics are not strong, then you cannot answer 3A and 3B. Basics na, tax rates computations, deductions, okay. Randomly they may ask something about house property. You should know at least the basic house property format. What is the house property format? GAV. From there you subtract municipal taxes, NAV. From NAV you should subtract like 30% standard deduction. Interest you should reduce. So that's the basic thing. But at final level, you don't expect like there will be a house property adjustment. But suddenly, they'll ask that. See, if you are into articleship and you have filed these individual returns and all, house property and all, those things might have already registered to you. Then you could do it easily. Okay? That thing will come. Recent attempts are very recent attempt. The 3-year question is simple. They are given income from interest. Interest income they are given. Salary income they have given. House property income. So like that, 4 or 5 source of incomes they are given. 2-3 deductions they are given. You should compute tax rates under both the methods. Under default regime, normal regime. Both the methods you should compute the tax computation. That's it. Basic tax computation only they have asked question from 3A. Certain times they will even ask a theory question, sir. What is that theory question? If at all you have studied old syllabus CMA inter DT, sir, there used to be a question about, first question, in inter level they used to ask about, write about difference between tax planning and tax avoidance. Okay, tax planning and tax management. So like that there used to be theory questions. Okay, here actually in this chapter called different aspects of tax planning, they will be talking about like what is called tax planning, what is called tax management, what is called tax avoidance. Sir, simple thing, sir. If you have an LIC policy, if you pay to LIC premium, you will get deduction, right? Based on that, your total income will come down and your tax will also come down. So if you invest in LIC policy, that is called what? Tax planning. But you don't have LIC policy. You want to reduce your taxable income. So even though you don't invest in LIC policy, you claimed there. That's called what? Tax avoidance. So based on such conditions, there used to be a question. So basic things only, but you should have understanding, overall fundamentals understanding you should have. Okay, 3A and 3B. So 3A and 3B, sir, both the questions will be such thing kind of only. We cannot specifically say like this is on salaries, this is on capital gains, but overall understanding you should have there to write 3A and 3B. But fundamentally they are easy questions only. But we cannot predict or we cannot tell in the workbook sources or in the material sources like here from these 4 questions it will come, from these 5 questions it will come. Such kind of prediction and all we cannot do. The problem is what? You should have overall understanding. Then 4A. Question number 4A is about business restructuring. What is business restructuring, sir? Company, LLP converting into company, firm converting into company, when there is amalgamation, when there is demerger, what are those implications? So that particular chapter related question is always from 4A. 4B, sir. 4B, the question is always about non-resident taxation. You are an individual, non-resident, they'll give certain incomes to you. You should find out is tax liability. Non-resident and most probably the SSC will also be whom? Individual only. Okay, then 5A, it is from which chapter, sir? Appeals chapter. Okay. Then 5B, it is about what? Advance tax. Okay. Sir, I am not saying it randomly for you to have that particular trust only. I have did all this. You could see. 5A, December 23 exam. They have given from appeals. December 23 MTP. They have asked from appeals. June 24 exam. Again from appeals. June 24 MTP. Appeals. December 24 exam. Appeals. 24, there are 2 MTPs. Again, appeals chapter. June 25 MTP 1. Appeals chapter. MTP 2 also from appeals chapter only. Exam question also again from appeals chapter only. So, okay. From whatever the past sources we have, in all those chapters, it is there standardly from which chapter, sir? Appeals chapter. And again, if you see 4B, again, which chapter, sir? Non-resident consistently. You could see here, business restructuring. You see like set off and carry forward. But again, I kept in bracket. Which chapter? Business restructuring only. So standardly, this question is from what? Business restructuring. And again, 3B and 3A, sir, you could see one attempt, it would be from one particular chapter like that. Okay, there is no standard prediction. If you go to question number 2, it's always PGBP. Sometimes they include MAT, sometimes they will not even include MAT. Then question number 6A is from DTAA. International. Sir, 6 and 7 both are from international taxation only, sir. 6 and 7. 6A DTAA or transfer pricing. 6B standard DTAA. 7A transfer pricing, 7B again from transfer pricing only. 8A. Sir, 8A, again to answer 8A, you should have overall understanding. What they are doing now, usually 8A or 8B, case studies if anything are there, they are picking directly the case studies and asking one particular question. And 8B, also the same thing. If you have thorough understanding, then you could answer 8A and 8B. So out of the whole paper, one question which they are asking very tricky is 8th question. Usually 8th question will be tricky. But 3rd question, sir, I'm not saying like it's tricky, but cannot be predicted. If you have fundamentals proper understanding, then you could even easily answer question number 3. But question number 8, usually it will be a hard question. Understand, right? Okay. Even for MCQs also we could do, sir. Out of 15 MCQs, minimum 8 MCQs we could say like from these chapters they will be coming. Like DTAA, always there will be 2 MCQs. There is a chapter called GAR, from always there will be 1 MCQ. Out of 5 MCQs, these 3 are minimum. From these areas they will be coming. The other 2, they may come in DTA only or they may be even in transfer pricing. And even in income tax also. On MAT, there will be one particular MCQ. Penalties, 1 MCQ. Return of income, 2 MCQs. And again, assessment, we can expect minimum 1 MCQ. So if you see 2, 4, 5 MCQs, sir, and here 3. 8 MCQs, we can usually predict like from these areas can be the MCQs. The other 7 MCQs, they can ask randomly from any of those chapters. See, now what should be our approach, sir? Listening to the classes, sir, any student, if you believe like looking at all these analysis, sir, some students feel like, okay, then straight away I'll read business restructuring from study material. Straight away I'll go and read DTA transfer pricing. The problem is like, they're always linked with the other chapters. Okay? It's like, you'll understand, but you'll be by-hearting things there. In exam, it's not like they'll ask only the same point. They may ask different point, then again you cannot answer. So my advice or suggestion is like, for the classroom understanding or for the first time revision, you should cover the whole syllabus. But then on, okay, you need not to focus all the chapters with the same importance. Okay, so these chapters which were linked with the questions and all, those will be giving more importance once we progress. I mean, the last minute, like last 1.5 month or 1 month, we'll be focusing only on those chapters. Okay, so if at all, sir, online students, if you are having any differentiation between a fast track batch or regular batch, fast track batch will straight away cover these chapters. Okay, assuming what? You know everything. Just you are ready to go for the final level, assuming you have watched Pushpavan. But now, here at regular class, our approach will be what? You don't know anything. Even if you know, that was long time back. You are Gajini. You forgot everything. Okay, maybe only few points you will be remembering. Or that time, you are not much dedicated. Now only that Gnanodayam came. You went and sat that beneath that particular tree, banyan tree or something. Okay, recently you got Gnanodayam, and from now on you want to study properly. So okay, we cannot demotivate you by staying like this and all. Already you might have learnt and came. So that's why we'll be starting from the regular batch. We'll be starting here, assuming you don't know anything. Okay, don't know anything. It's not like capital gains means this. Okay, salary means this. Not that much basic, but you know little extent only. Okay. So we'll be starting with the first chapter, sir. First chapter is about the basics, sir. Basics. Then we'll learn deductions. Then we'll start with PGBP. Basics, deductions. Okay. Then we'll go to the chapter called PGBP. Okay. So don't carry that past trauma regarding PGBP into final level, sir. I'll make it easy. Sir, I always have this question. Why only government has to levy tax? Why don't we? Okay, I had that question from the time I watched the Businessman movie. Okay, thing is like there, the hero, Surya Bhai, on every transaction he'll take 2%. Why can't we? Okay, so only thing is like we also need to hire some rowdies, gundas and some kind of production we need to be there. Then we can start up. The problem is like, sir, we cannot do that. Okay, then you should link it with KGF. What happened even in KGF also, the hero Ash will be extracting gold and all, whatever he want. Till one particular point of time only government will tolerate. Then they'll enforce army. There's a dialogue also, I'm enforcing army. Okay, so you cannot go top of the government, sir. The point is like, why only government? Where it was said? It was said in the Constitution. Article 265 says like, only the authority of law, I mean the government can collect taxes. It's not any one of us. Write down, sir. Article 265. Article 265. says like no tax shall be levied, no tax shall be levied or collected. No tax shall be levied or collected except by authority of law. Except by authority of law. Authority of law, na nothing but there are three authorities of law, sir. Central government, state government, local authorities. Only they can collect taxes, they can levy taxes. Others cannot do. Okay, if at all me has to levy taxes or Vishnu has to levy taxes, where it has to be changed? In constitution it has to be changed, and there we should keep like no tax shall be levied or collected except by authority of law and Vishnu or Vishnu. So like that, if you change there, then he has the power to levy taxes. Otherwise we don't have the power to levy taxes. Then there is a conflict. Authority of law will levy taxes, but which authority of law will levy tax on which source? Now there are again central government, state government, local authorities. Now on the same particular source, central government is saying like I will levy tax because I am authority of law. State government is saying like it will levy tax. Again it is also a authority of law. Local authority is also saying, okay, so here let's say BCCA, now it is in Hyderabad, right? GHMC coming and saying like since BCCA is in Hyderabad, you need to pay income tax to GHMC. Authority of law, need to pay tax. Telangana government coming and saying like it's there in Telangana, authority of law, I can levy tax, pay tax to me. Then central government representative came and asked like you are in India, you need to pay again tax to central government. Then nothing will be there. Your fees 30% will go to GHMC, 30% will go to state government, 30% will go to central government. The other 10% first itself went GST. So nothing is there. So the point is like, again, there cannot be double taxation or there cannot be conflict. So that's why Article 246. Article 246. It consists of, sir, Article 246, under Article 246 there is 7th schedule. Consists of 3 lists. What are those 3 lists? Union list, state list, concurrent list. Union list, state list, concurrent list. Seventh schedule consists of 3 lists: union list, state list, concurrent list. Sir, we need not to write again everything in detail. Union list now. Sir, Article 246 has divided them. Okay, the matters has been divided between central, state, and for both of them. If at all something is mentioned under union list, with respect to those matters, the law can be formed by central government. And even the tax, if at all they are related to tax, the tax can be levied and collected by central government. If at all they are under the state list, then the tax can be levied and collected by state government. Concurrent list. Sir, under concurrent list, there is no taxation related matters. Okay. Other matters are there in concurrent list. Let's say the traffic rules related. Okay. So with respect to traffic rules, state can also form a law, central can also form a law. Okay, but the central law can be as it is adopted by state government, or they can adopt it with modifications also. So there are certain areas where central also can frame a law, states can also frame a law. You might be having a question. Sir, if all the states are having different laws, what's the purpose of again central law? Under concurrent list, let's say related to traffic only, if every state forms a different law, what's the purpose of having central law again? Sir, usually central law acts as like a format, okay, which would be adopted by number of states. If at all they feel like these are irrelevant or these are too harsh in that particular state, that alone they will be amending. And next thing, for union territories and all, the central law will only be applicable again. Understand? So that's why concurrent list also there. Even the civil procedures and all those things will be there under the concurrent law. Next, components of income tax law. This and all, I mean, this part also you might have learnt in the inter level only, sir. Components of income tax law. So talking about the sources, from BCCA you will get a concept book, printed color format, concept book you will get for the whole DT. Then we will be providing you a workbook. Okay, so workbook will be somewhat not in the usual format we will be designing, sir. So I mean, what we are planning and how it will be coming is like, the index itself will be 2A, 2B, 3A, 3B, 4A, 4B. So like that the index will be. So that means instead of the question you should pick, those relevant questions will be there. Okay, there also, like how the material is going to be, workbook is especially. Sir, let's say 4B, assume you are doing 4B chapter, there is non-resident, but maybe in one particular attempt or one MTP, there may be other chapter question also. That means under 4B, the possibility of asking is for 2 chapters. The chapter which comes frequently, they are under the first priority, A. And the chapter which comes in the like very less priority, then it will be in the B. Okay, B category or afterwards. Like that, it will be there. Within the chapter, again, there will be A, B. Okay, so based on time, if you have less time, you could only go with the A's. You have plenty of time, then you could go with the A and B's as well. In classroom, we'll cover both. Okay, for preparation also, to make it convenient, it would be in such a way. So that workbook we are going to provide and concept book we are going to provide. Coming to this handwritten, sir, I'll share this with you, the PDF soft copy only, chapter by chapter, I'll share. Okay, so for almost, sir, my plan is to write notes for at least these important chapters. Write notes for these important chapters. If at all it's taking more time, then maybe for other chapters also, I'll write notes and come to class. That I'll be sharing to the PDF directly to you, and I'll explaining from the soft copy. Okay, handwritten notes. Okay, otherwise we'll be usually writing notes in the classroom. And our target completion of syllabus is like by August 20. August 20. Okay, I said like SCM, I mean Rajesh sir already said like he'll be completing by August 5th. I'll be completing by August 20. So till this June month end, you'll be having only single sessions only, like DT 1 session, SCM 1 session. From July 1st or 2nd, then you'll be having multiple sessions. SCM you'll be having 2 sessions, DT also you'll be having 2 sessions. Okay, so whatever the time I promised, I'll be completing the syllabus within that time only. Post completion of SCM, then again I need to drop one of my session, like I'll be only going with one particular session, then SFM and law will get added. Okay, so the target completion date is like, internally we had one date, what we are communicating is also one date, like what we are saying going to say is like September 30, but we have a much more earlier completion date to us. Okay, but considering the past completions and all, if at all 1 or 2 days if we take it delayed, then you guys will be questioning. That's why September 30, in any case, we are going to complete the whole syllabus. But don't worry, the face-to-face students also, it would be minimum of 10 days prior to that only, they will be completing. Components of income tax law. Components of income tax law. See, to understand or to read income tax, does only the act is enough for us to read? That's the point. Okay, what totally is called as income tax, or what we'll be studying here totally. So there is an Income Tax Act 1961. That's the base. But to that act, every year there will be amendments coming to that. So how the amendments will be introduced? Through Finance Act. I mean, in layman language, we may call it as like budget. But still it is called as what? Annual Finance Act. So Income Tax Act is a component of income tax law. Annual Finance Act is a part of income tax law. Third one, time to time government will be issuing circulars and notifications. Circulars and notifications. What are called circulars? If there is any ambiguous situation means, like let's say, sir, at one place, like gift 50,000 is exempted. In IFRS chapter under 56 subsection 2 clause 10, they have said like gift 50,000 is exempted. Now there is an ambiguity here. You are having 51,000 as gift. Now the question is, the only 1,000 is taxable. Total 50,000 is taxable. So in these cases, they may be issuing circulars. If there are such kind of ambiguities, they may be issuing circulars. Circulars are usually clarificatory in nature. If there is any confusion, they try to bring clarity. And then notifications. If at all any changes has to be made, they cannot wait always till the Annual Finance Act. Or even though they have made it amended in the Annual Finance Act, but they didn't made it effective. To make a provision effective, they will be again notifying it by way of issuing the notifications. So circulars and notifications. First one is what? Income Tax Law. Income Tax Act 1961. Second one is Annual Finance Act. Third one is like circulars and notifications. The fourth ones are income tax rules. Rules. I'll tell you a simple example for rules, sir. For filing a return, you should have a PAN card. Your PAN number is needed. PAN is nothing but your registration number under income tax. Just like as driving license, you will be having a number, right? Who will be issuing driving license? RTO, Road Transport Authorities will be giving. Same as for income tax, a registration is nothing but what? PAN number. See, under income tax law, they'll be talking about you should have a PAN number only. But to get PAN number, where you should go? Which form you should apply? What details you should provide? Like the proof of what proofs you need to provide. All those they didn't mention it in the act. All those they'll be covering where? In the rules. So income tax rules are step-by-step guidelines or the step-by-step approach to implement the act. So act says like this has to be done or this has to be done in this way. But whereas rules gives the step-by-step approach. What has to be done here? How it has to be done. So all those step-by-step guidelines are given where? In the rules. The last one is like the case laws. Time to time, the courts will be giving various pronouncements. Okay, those court pronouncements are also part of income tax law. So there are total 5 components of income tax law, sir. First one is Income Tax Act 1961, Annual Finance Act. Third one is income tax rules. Fourth one, circulars and notification. Fifth one is like case laws. So write down. Income Tax Act 1961. Sir, Income Tax Act applicable to whole of India except Jammu and Kashmir. Whole of India, including the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, so we need not to tell that one again. It consists of total 298 sections divided into 14 chapters. Okay, there won't be any MCQ like asking how many sections are there in Income Tax Act. But to know, there will be how many, sir? 298 sections and 14 chapters. Okay, need not to write here. Then Annual Finance Act. Annual Finance Act. So Annual Finance Act means budget. So usually budget means what? Under costing FM you learned right. What is called budget? Estimate. Budget means nothing but an estimate. Why income tax is linked with that particular budget? Sir, understand, the purpose of Annual Finance Act is not to bring amendments to Income Tax Act. Okay? The basic necessity to introduce budget is like the government wants to tell the public representatives, I mean MPs, that in the coming year, this is our income sources and this is our expenses. It want to tell that to the houses. I mean houses, na, upper house, lower house. To the MPs, it want to tell this is the income source and this is what we are going to spend. Based on their approval only, government can spend. Okay, that's why they'll usually introduce budget. But then why income tax they are involved in between? Na? Sir, understand, in India, there are thousands of laws. Okay, all those laws needs to be changed year by year. Otherwise, they'll become outdated. One among them which requires rapid updations is income tax law. Because maybe in 1961, the basic exemption limit is only 100 rupees. That time, below 100, no tax. Above 100 only, it might got taxed. In 1961, 100 or 500, something, the basic exemption limit would be. But if you keep the same 500 as basic exemption limit now, then everybody is going to pay tax. So those has to be updated. So year after year, considering inflation, global factors, all those things, it needs to be updated every year. So every year they cannot again introduce, okay, for income tax updations one time, GST updations one time, there are 1,000 laws again. All these needs to be updated. So every time they cannot pass a bill in the parliament. That's why once the bill is passed, we already accepted income tax, right? Updations, for updations related, again they need not to put something separately for income tax. That's why all the acts in India which requires these updations will be bundled along with the budget. Okay? Once the Finance Act is approved, it means what? All those amendments which they are bringing to those acts is also gets amended or it also gets approved. Okay? So Annual Finance Act is not wholly relevant for income tax. A part of it is relevant to income tax. Why Annual Finance Act, sir? Why it is relevant? Amendments are made through it. Amendments are made through it. Then Income Tax Rules 1962. Who will make rules, sir? Usually CBDT is empowered to make rules. Who is called CBDT? What's the purpose of CBDT? Full form of CBDT, sir? Central Board of Direct Taxes. So central government is there na, to implement or to levy income tax. Why again this CBDT is needed? Sir, one more thing here, above point. Income tax is under which list, sir? Clear na? You have a question regarding that as well. Income tax is there under the union list. Okay. GST? First of all, GST is not there under Article 246 itself. Okay, that confusion will come. That's why they have inserted what? Article 246A for the purpose of GST. So it will not even come under the 246. For GST, there is Article 246A because GST, both central will frame laws, state will also frame laws. Okay, which is a unique, different kind of model altogether. That's why they have brought, they have introduced under Article 246A. Okay. See, now, central government is the one empowered to levy income tax, right? Now if central government is there, now why again CBDT is needed? Sir, it's as simple as like, if CM is there now, police department is not needed. See, chief minister cannot give you protection, right? He is the one who oversees or who looks after the government. But still there should be something like what? Police department, who will actually take care of the day-to-day activities. The same way, central government, it comes under central government only. But it's not like the finance minister will come and check our income tax returns. There would be someone here who will be checking after the day-to-day activities, all these procedural aspects and all. So that's why they have formed a department called CBDT. Under that department, there are various officers working there who will be looking after the administration day-to-day activities of income tax. So CBDT, income tax rules will be issued by whom, sir? CBDT. So issued by CBDT. Issued by CBDT. And these are what? Step-by-step guidelines. Rules are like what? Step-by-step guidelines. Step-by-step guidelines. Then circulars and notifications. Circulars and notifications. Circulars and notifications. Sir, circulars are issued by CBDT. Circulars are issued by CBDT. For what? To clarify doubts. Sir, SSE is not bound to follow circulars, sir. He can question the circulars. SSE is not bound to circulars. Let's say there is an ambiguity. And with, just like as I said, like gift related example, 50,000 is exempted. That's what the provision says. Like, you are having a question like above 50,000 is taxable, whole amount is taxable. They issued a circular stating like whole amount is taxable, which you are not convincing. So now you cannot follow the circular. Okay. Then what department has to, if at all, even against to department also circular, department has to follow circular because they are issued by CBDT, their department only. But SSE, if it is against to them, they are not bound to do that. So then everybody will not be following that. Then what they'll do next year, in the law itself, they'll make amendment. That's what they can do. Understand? So issued by CBDT to clarify doubts. Circulars are binding only on department. Binding only on department. Then again, notifications, sir. Related to notifications, sir. Sir, notifications means what? They already said us like they have made such change. Let's say, for example, TDS rate on 194C, assume take a transaction like 194C is about contracts. On contracts, the TDS has to be deducted at a rate of, let's say, 1%. They want to increase it to 5%. They want to increase it to 5%. They have said that like the amendment has been mentioned in the Finance Act only that 194C related TDS rate has been increased to 5%. But then once the budget is introduced, the business communities and all went and approached to finance department. They wrote letters and they have went to income tax officers and said like, you cannot implement this immediately. We need some time. Because 5% and all, it creates pressure on our working capital. So we need some time. So government is given a time of 6 months. See, I mean, actually the amendment should come into effect from 1st April. But they are giving how much time? 6 months. That means it would be applicable from when? 1st September. So to notify, to make it effect from 1st September, that time they will issue a notification. I mean, notification is nothing but just like as our mobile notification. It's an alert kind of. Okay, this is becoming effective from now on. So on 1st September, what they'll do? They'll again issue a notification in the official gazette. Nothing but communicating everyone from now, this particular amendment is into force. That is called notification. If the notification is related to act, central government will issue notification. If the notification is related to rules, then CBDT will issue notification. Notification is nothing but just telling the public at large, this is effective from now. This has been come into effective. This provision has come into effective. That's what. Okay. Notifications with respect to rules. Sorry. With respect to rules, issued by CBDT. With respect to act, issued by central government. Issued by central government. Why these are introduced? Why these will be issued? To give effect to provisions. To give effect to provisions. The next fifth one is about case laws. Case laws, sir. Case laws, na, it's not like every court law, every case law will consider, like decisions of Supreme Court or High Court. Decisions of High Court and Supreme Court only will consider. Tribunals and all, not much impact. But High Court decisions and Supreme Court decisions will have lot of importance. So, okay, since we are writing notes, have a separate notes for it, income tax also. Already you have spent somewhere 7 to 10,000 on buying these classes. So spent additionally another 70 rupees in buying a good quality notebook. So tomorrow our major focus will be charging section we'll discuss, and then majorly we'll be discussing about the tax rates, surcharge rates, rebate, marginal relief. So maximum tomorrow our focus is like from individual perspective only. I'll not touch company tax rates and surcharge rates. Tomorrow our focus is more on individual related. Tax rates, special tax rates, surcharge, marginal relief, all those things we'll be discussing tomorrow. Okay? Thank you all.